The financial benefits for Bloomberg LP and the philanthropic benefits for Michael Bloomberg personally of ThinkSheet's real-world yesterday, today, and tomorrow platform will be exponential. This video is all about enhancing the data ecosystem described in the Google graphic that follows, with ThinkSheet's visual intelligence platform to create a thought process ecosystem led by giants like Microsoft and Google in the US. The AI competition and funding, government and private sector is in a frenzy, like the growth of the internet in the 90s. The introduction of OpenAI last November has been a mega catalyst for AI becoming top of mind for business leaders and individuals. With Microsoft considering increasing its initial $3 billion investment in OpenAI by $10 billion. And Silicon Valley is in an investment frenzy over generative artificial intelligence, even amid the current tech gloom, with the Chinese trouncing the US in AI research output and quality. My co-founder, Dr. Roy Friedman, is a pioneer in AI and fintech and a professor of financial and risk engineering at NYU. All of his students are Chinese, and all of his classes are virtual. Let's look at the Google AI graphic. Google describes the components as an open, unified, and intelligent data ecosystem with data at its core. ThinkSheet's visual intelligence platform can elevate Google's data ecosystem into a far more valuable thought process ecosystem, with the ThinkSheet one-pager as the ultimate output value, and the same with a Microsoft-led thought process ecosystem. Bloomberg professionals and customers will be able to quantify their thought processes like the Morgan Stanley equity analyst in this ThinkSheet-based research report, and see the reasons for their answers, i.e. their thought process, in contrast to OpenAI and other AI software that generates answers but without the sources. So how can Bloomberg leverage the ThinkSheet enhanced visual thought process ecosystem? Let's use your business and tech leadership as an example. What can they do with the one-pager in meetings that they can't do with other commercially available tools? Quantify their qualitative and quantitative analysis, see their whole story at a glance, iterate through what-if scenarios at speed of thought, and ThinkSheet generates their complete, precise answer as a set of scores for each scenario instantly. On the terminal in the future, but for now, they can use our ThinkSheet Equities app on the Bloomberg app portal with the one-pagers for target price forecasts for individual stocks like Microsoft and portfolio ranking app for TMT stocks, and then scale the technology to other asset classes and businesses. ThinkSheet's value proposition is an exponential increase in time to value for you and your customers. Exponential value, better decisions plus reusable institutional knowledge by preserving the thought processes of your top minds in ThinkSheet model libraries. Time savings, faster decisions and workflows, and cost savings. Your leaders create the value in the ordinary course of business, such as routine meetings, but they create far greater value with ThinkSheet than without it in the same amount of time. Bloomberg has a 2021 revenue base to grow of $11.6 billion and approximately $500K per employee, according to Burton Taylor, plus far more productive R&D. A tech strategist who has spent his entire career working with the C-suite and tech leaders at large financial institutions uses this graphic to explain why the collaboration between your business and AI leaders starts and ends with the one-pagers. It leads to a huge increase in the productivity from the professional intelligence and artificial intelligence workflows in the smartphone analogy video. An analogy is Google scoring human intelligence first and then using AI to aggregate the scores to steal the search market from Alta Vista. ThinkSheet uses a similar sequence to solve the symbolic language problem and enabling professionals like the MD Anderson oncologist to score their acronyms and then have AI aggregate the scores. In other words, PI first and then AI. ThinkSheet uses scores, transforms their judgments, data, and thought processes into maximum value data for the AI to process at minimal time and cost. Jamie Dimon's 66-page letter to shareholders on April 4th of last year is an example. We have modeled his thought process in the letter and integrated relevant modules in multiple use cases, such as business resiliency, global macro, and equities. ThinkSheet models increase cognition value, speed, and memory, shorten letters, reports, and presentations like the Morgan Stanley reports, generate huge AI time and cost savings because the teams create their models in the ordinary course of business. By comparison, think of the extraordinary time and cost of gathering, training, and testing data to create AI-generated models of the thought processes of these people. ThinkSheet's unique qualitative intelligence platform provides the tools for professionals to quantify the qualitative and the quantitative and synthesize the two to model their best thought processes, i.e., their professional intelligence. The methodology starts with the qualitative intelligence, then the quantitative, and then the professional intelligence, and then link the professional intelligence thought processes and scores to the artificial intelligence to create the Six Sigma synthesized thought process ecosystem workflow. This is a ThinkSheet home run, a profoundly more productive modeling workflow than just quant models and AI. So what assets and expertise will ThinkSheet provide Bloomberg? First, our scientific approach to qualitative analysis, based on my experience as a lawyer, investment banker, and software engineer. The first question we ask is whether the best, fastest, and least expensive model input-output is a judgment. If so, we use it. If not, we use quant models, AI, and our reports. The ThinkSheet visual intelligence platform is unique, broad, and deep in terms of methodologies, assets, models, videos, and tools, and has been co-developed with premier professionals, many of whom have been Bloomberg users. One of our goals is to partner with Bloomberg to implement our Thought Leader Thought Processes project, to build comprehensive use cases of the thought processes of people we have been modeling for years, like Xi Jinping, Jamie Dimon, Michael Bloomberg, and Hank Paulson. All Bloomberg professionals can use ThinkSheet, particularly Bloomberg intelligence analysts. All of these Bloomberg businesses involve critical qualitative issues that can be modeled with ThinkSheet. Law is currently 100% qualitative text. ThinkSheet's case-based reasoning methodology quantifies a case method, in effect what lawyers already do in the ordinary course of business. Imagine the cost savings and settlement advantage of using ThinkSheet models for litigation. Beneficiaries include general counsel, outside counsel, senior management, the board of directors, regulators, and investors. Examples are BP's Deep Horizon litigation and Apple Qualcomm patent, Goldman's One IDB Malaysia, and now FTX bankruptcy. ThinkSheet models can enhance all of Bloomberg's media and conference businesses. Our most powerful use case, ThinkSheet Global Macro, was co-developed with a strategist for a global investment bank, based in large part on the Bloomberg TV debates between Stephen Roach and Jim Chanos during the financial crisis, whether China would experience a soft or hard landing. ThinkSheet compares the Roach soft versus Chanos hard landing scenarios on one-pagers that change in real time as their judgments change. Many of the issues are relevant today, and Roach and Chanos are still opining on China, making it easy for us to update the scenarios for their new positions. Bloomberg hosts, the audience, and Roach and Chanos could iterate through what-if scenarios, and the one-pagers, answers, and thought processes would update instantly. Emily Chang could use the one-pagers for her Bloomberg technology interviews. David Rubenstein for peer-to-peer interviews. If he doesn't want to disturb the personal experience of his interviews, his producers and analysts can develop ThinkSheet videos to summarize the key takeaways. ThinkSheet would make Bloomberg Philanthropy's documentaries far more persuasive to audiences and easier for them to retain in memory. For education, the Bloomberg School of Public Health at Johns Hopkins COVID Research Center could set a new standard for COVID communications, analysis, and feedback. Finally, Bloomberg management and Willett advisors can increase their institutional knowledge by saving and reusing their best ThinkSheet models. Authors and subjects provide a wealth of publicly available knowledge to ThinkSheet. Podcasts like Walter Isaacson's and any thought leaders. And finally, leverage the thought processes of potential ThinkSheet partners like Google, Microsoft, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, Blackstone, and the NASDAQ. A comparison test to conclude. First, search output value. ThinkSheet one-pager's output will be far more valuable than Google's page rankings that require reading through the web pages and OpenAI conversations that don't include the sources. ThinkSheet modeling tools will enable Bloomberg teams and customers to model their complete thought processes, qualitative and quantitative, and reporters and podcasters can add one-pagers to synthesize their news and podcasts. And finally, leverage the ThinkSheet thought process ecosystem to add ThinkSheet models for meetings, reports, presentations, conferences, television, YouTube, and documentaries. If your users can think it, speak it, write it, or even dream it, they can ThinkSheet it. And Bloomberg can have the first mover advantage in the mammoth new visual intelligence market, i.e., all professionals and experts worldwide.